We will start the regular press conference by Minister Motegi. The floor is yours, Your Excellency. First of all, last week there was the APEC leaders meeting. President Trump visited Japan and the Republic of Korea. It was the ASEAN-related summit meetings, and then Mr. Trump came to Japan, and there was the APEC ministerial and the summit meeting in Republic of Korea. I also had about 10 bilateral meetings on each of the occasion regarding the contents, substance, or the assessment. I have already expressed my observations, and therefore today I would like to accept your questions. If you have any question, please raise your hand. If you are invited, come forward to the microphone. Please ask a question after telling us your name and affiliation. Mr. Nagahara Sankei. Thank you. Nagahara Sankei, Shimbun newspaper. Once again about the APEC meeting. In the waiting group, Prime Minister Takaichi was very positive in going to talk to other leaders and patting shoulders. This was highly popular in SNS, and there were more than 4 million access to your enjoying your coffee time. Prime Minister Takaichi is attracting attention on the SNS. How do you take this, please? Yes, I have been observing that, and Prime Minister Takaichi was very proactive. Prior to the start of the conferences, she would go proactively on her own volition to go talk with other leaders in the waiting room. And as for myself, during the meetings, whenever time was available, I even spoke with other counterparts. So regarding Prime Minister Takaichi during the series of events, together with the leaders of allies, like-minded countries and neighboring countries in the region, she has been very proactive in talking together directly, and she has established personal relationship through frank manner. I do believe that these kind of relationship will be a robust foundation for the future leaders level diplomacy and for Japan's diplomacy going forward. And as for myself, yes, I have also engaged in a series of important conferences and meetings since I took this position. About 13 also bilateral meetings and other events have taken place, and I have also managed to establish a personal relationship with many counterparts, which I think was hugely significant. Going forward, I think continuing to explain and message our diplomatic efforts on the ground and at the front line carefully and thoroughly is extremely important to garner the understanding of the Japanese people regarding Japan's foreign policy. Of course, establishing trust with the foreign counterparts is included, but foreign diplomacy is only possible with the trust and confidence by the general public, and therefore we will continue our effort in terms of our communication dissemination, and that is why SNS and in other media there are many highly appreciative reactions about our diplomatic activities, which I'm very grateful about. About the coffee break, that the movie introducing coffee, this has been reviewed for more than 4 million. That was a bit of a surprise. But we will continue to defend our national interest, and by promoting a uniquely Japanese diplomacy to raise our presence in the international community even further, we will promote a powerful diplomacy with a broad perspective. And the next question, please. Uemura-san, Yomiuri Shimbun. Uemura, Yomiuri Shimbun. About Prime Minister Takaichi, during her visit at the Kyonju Republic of Korea, when she attended the APEC meeting, she met with the former Vice Premier of Taiwan, Lee Shen-yi, and the Chinese Foreign Ministry issued a condemnation. What is the response? What is your observation about the Chinese government condemnation? At the occasion of APEC, APEC is made of 21 economies, and on such an occasion that the Prime Minister of Japan would have a meeting with a member of Taiwan. That has taken place already in the past APEC meetings. As you have pointed out, on this occasion, based on the 1972 Japan-China joint communique, it does not go against the position of the government of Japan that Japan will maintain a working relationship based on non-government basis with Taiwan. As I mentioned at the outset, in fact, so far in the past APEC meetings, there has been many such meetings in the past. Indeed, there was an approach by China in response to this meeting, but Japan explained our position that I mentioned once again, and we refuted. But at any rate, the basic position of the government of Japan on Taiwan remains unchanged. Next question, please. Miyawaki-san, Asahi Shimbun newspaper. Miyawaki, Asahi Shimbun. Yesterday, Prime Minister Takaichi joined the national rally of the meeting to call on the return of the abductees, and she mentioned about she has contacted and expressed her will to meet the leader of North Korea. And what is your view about the diplomatic effort necessary to realize this? As of yesterday, Prime Minister Takaichi did make such a comment. I am aware about that. Regarding North Korea, already so far through various routes, we have made all possible approaches. However, due to the nature of the issue, I will refrain from going into details. But at any rate, Prime Minister Takaichi has mentioned that she is fully prepared to engage in a leader summit with Chairman Kim Jong-un. And therefore, the government of Japan's position is, in order to realize the earliest possible return of all the abductees, we will engage in all possible efforts.
Next question, please. Kyodo. Higa, Kyodo, thank you very much for having me. Trump said.
Can you repeat that again, please? Yes, U.S. President Mr. Trump has posted on the social media, SNS, that he has made an instruction to conduct a nuclear test, and that is my question. Secretary Wright of DOE mentioned that it is going to be a non-critical, a subcritical test without detonation. And regarding the subcritical test, this has taken place even during the Biden administration. Going forward, if it becomes more frequent in the United States, there could be an intensification of competition to modernize the nuclear weapons between Russia and China. On October the 31st local time, the UN General Assembly First Committee has adopted by a majority the resolution submitted by Japan, and Your Excellency, you have issued your comment, but the U.S., which agreed last year, has abstained. How do you analyze this? What is your position? And as I mentioned, President Trump's comment that he instructed the start of the nuclear test, what is your response? As the government of Japan, how will you approach the U.S. government going forward? What you have pointed out about the messaging by President Trump, yes, I am aware, but I will refrain from commenting. Between the United States, whether it be issues of disarmament or the possession of Japan, we are constantly engaged in close communication, and that kind of communication will continue going forward. And about the resolution to eliminate nuclear weapons, on the 31st of October local time, the draft resolution submitted by Japan, which is steps to building a common roadmap towards a world without a nuclear weapon, was adopted with the affirmation of 145 countries, which I think is a large number. it was adopted with this at the first committee. As the division regarding nuclear disarmament is deepening and as the security environment is becoming even more difficult, I think it is extremely meaningful that this has garnered a wide support from countries with different positions regarding this kind of resolution at the United Nations. There are countries who are consistently in the affirmative or negative. Depending on the year, some countries will decide to vote for or vote against, and that, I think, happens on a daily basis, which is quite natural. Regarding the voting position of each of the country, I do not think that the government of Japan is in the position to explain the intention of other countries. But at any rate, between Japan and the US, as I have mentioned, it is no mistake that we are in close communication from normal time. And therefore, as the only country to have suffered atomic bomb at war, Japan will continue our effort to lead the international community's efforts by trying to aggregate the views of respective countries as much as possible.
Shanghai Dragon TV, Song. I'm a reporter at Shanghai Dragon TV, Tokyo. The closeness between Prime Minister Takaichi and President Trump has been featured, and she was jumping, literally, and some say Prime Minister's performance was excessive. What is your take? Just a minute, please. Sorry. Give me a few seconds. Apologize. There are so many questions. Well, I joined the leaders' meeting last week when President Trump was in town. And it was an amiable and highly productive meeting and discussion. It was a very fruitful meeting to usher in the new golden age of our alliance. I felt it was their first meeting, but it didn't feel like it was their first in-person meeting. It was a very warm and friendly meeting and very productive meeting, as if it was not their first in-person meeting. Close communication between our two leaders, including their bilateral meeting, and how our Prime Minister carried herself had positive impact on the atmosphere. It suited the atmosphere and significantly contributed in building trust between our leaders. Next question, please. Uemura-san. Yomiuri, Uemura. Now, high-ranked official of North Korea had passed away. Korean Central News Agency reports that Kim Yong-nam, former chair presidium of the Supreme People's Assembly, died at the age of 97 earlier this month due to multiple organ failure at age of 97. He used to have contact with Prime Minister Abe back then during the opening ceremony of the Pyeongchang Winter Olympic Games, and he had some contacts with Japan. I'm aware of the announcement by North Korea. You've just talked about his activities in the past, but may he rest in peace. Next question. Further questions? Anybody? If not, we would like to bring this press conference to a close. Thank you very much, everyone.